Hey guys, what is up? Today we're going to be talking about Kid Icarus Uprising and the story that unfolds within the game. Now, before we get into the whole story for Kid Icarus Uprising, here's a little history about Kid Icarus so you guys aren't confused as to what's going on. So Kid Icarus first released for the NES in 1987 and it takes place in Angel Land. Yeah, clever name. Anyways, the overworld is ruled by two deities, Palutena, the goddess of light, and Medusa, the goddess of darkness. Palutena, being the goddess of light, blessed the people of the world with light and made them happy, where Medusa basically did the opposite. Palutena got mad and Medusa made her into the snakehead we all know and then banished her to the underworld. Medusa got a little upset, therefore she plotted with the army of the underworld to surprise attack Palutena and take hold of her palace in the sky. She stole the three sacred treasures, turned all of Palutena's soldiers to stone, and then locked her up in her own palace, never to be let out again. Since she is a goddess though, she uses her godlike powers to give our main boy Pit a bow and arrow. Yeah, that is all he gets. Eventually, Pit breaks out of his cage, kills literally everything, defeats Medusa, and then rescues Palutena, and that's the whole story for the game. Alright, now we can go ahead and dive into Kid Icarus Uprising, which takes place 25 years after the events of the first game. Immediately we are told, shown, and reintroduced to Medusa, the big bad from the first game, and she's been resurrected and is leading her army back into the overworld to finish what she started. Palutena this time doesn't sit on her ass through the entire game, and sends Pit out to fight against the underworld to stop Medusa, only this time, Palutena can grant him the power of flight for 5 minutes. Longer than 5 minutes, his wing will be burnt to a crisp and I guess he'll die. It's not really clear what happens to Pit when his wings burn because he is an angel that does not fly anyways, so what good are the wings? Other than to allow Palutena to give him flight, and for the game to remind us that he is in fact an angel. Anyways, through a series of recurring fights with some old villains, Pit absolutely destroys them and sets out to fight a new addition to the villain roster, who is none other than Dark Lord Gaul.
Prepare for defeat, Dark Lord Gaul!
With the help of Magnus, I don't know who this guy is, but he just showed up out of nowhere, he teams up with Pit and helps him defeat the Dark Lord before never being seen again until much later in the story. Quick little interjection, although Magnus is not referenced in any other Kid Icarus game, through the wiki we know that he is in fact the strongest human and was once rivals with Dark Lord Gaul before she got sealed within the cursed armor. As Pit fights Pandora, one of the many villains, it is revealed that the underworld has been using this special Mirror of Truth to clone a complete copy of anything set before it, and right before Pandora is defeated, she shines the mirror at Pit, who quickly takes action in destroying it. However, in doing so, he creates an incomplete clone of himself, Dark Pit, or as the characters in the game call him, Pitu. I think it's Pitu. Being an incomplete clone of Pit harbors an ungodly amount of angst and edginess, and he refuses to be on anybody's team, therefore leading him to kill Pandora, and then he just takes off. Palutena then focuses more onto the underworld invasion and sends Pit to the Galactic Sea, an area that is inhabited by, yep, you guessed it, pirates, because, why not? These space pirates are actually in possession of the three sacred treasures, and Pit plans on using them again to defeat Medusa. Once Pit collects all the treasures, he immediately fights Medusa and wins, thereby saving the world once again.
So cute, Pit!
Now wait just a second.
Huh? Did you hear something?
I said wait just a second.
Got to be hearing things.
Hades?
Who's Hades?
The true master of the underworld.
Sorry to keep you waiting, but now that I'm here, let's get this party started!
Turns out Hades was gaslighting Medusa into being the big bad, and with all the commotion of what's happening, Hades tricks the humans into thinking one of them stole the wishing seed, which can grant any wish to anyone that has it. And of course, war breaks out between the humans, causing the goddess of nature, Viridi, to appear, who then launches a whole-ass reset nuke that wipes out humanity and restores balance. But because of the destruction, it attracts an alien race known as the Aurum, who plans on harvesting the planet's resources for their own gain. The attention is now on the Aurum invasion, which causes Viridi and Palutena to team up alongside Phyron, who helps them destroy aliens. However, Phyron switches up and fuses with the Aurum brain, gaining control of the aliens, but is ultimately defeated by Pit and retreats back to space. After 3 years, Pit wakes up and realizes he's trapped inside of a ring. While trying to figure out what happened, he takes control of the bodies of a girl a dog, and eventually Magnus, who informs Pit that Palutena's army began attacking mankind during the Angel's absence. Afterwards, Pit fights and reclaims his own body, then attempts to contact Palutena in order to sort out what had happened during the last 3 years. However, Viridi answers Pit's call instead, and uses the power of flight to fly him to the Skyworld, where he encounters the projection of a possessed Palutena. After Pit discovers that a force field surrounding Palutena's temple is preventing him from reaching his goddess, Viridi extracts him and brings him back to her own headquarters to regroup. She then sends Pit to the Lightning Chariot base in order to borrow a vehicle known as the Lightning Chariot, which possesses the ability to break through the force field surrounding Palutena's temple. However, the Chariot Master is reluctant to hand it over, forcing Pit to fight him for it. After the Chariot Master's death, Pit takes control of the Lightning Chariot and uses it to break through Palutena's barrier. Viridi then tells Pit of the Chaos Kin, the creature that is controlling Palutena. Pit travels through the temple and engages Palutena in battle, defeating the Chaos Kin and freeing her of its own control. However, the Chaos Kin snatches Palutena's soul away, causing her body to turn to stone as it flees into the Chaos Vortex. With the help of Dark Pit, Pit pursues the Chaos Kin into the Chaos Vortex and engages it in battle, ultimately reclaiming Palutena's soul. As Pit and Palutena reunite, the ashes of the Chaos Kin spring to life and latch onto Dark Pit, pulling him from the platform they were standing on and sending him plummeting through the air below. Pit rushes after him and uses the power of flight to save him, but because he already exhausted his flight prior, his wings catch fire. The injuries to Pit's wings leave the Angel in critical condition, forcing Dark Pit to travel to the underworld in order to save him. With Palutena's help, Dark Pit brings Pit's unconscious body to the Rewind Spring, which returns his wings to their original state. Having been brought back from the brink of death, Pit equips himself with the 3 sacred treasures and faces off against Hades. However, the Lord of the Underworld destroys the treasures, prompting Pit and Palutena to seek out the god of the Forge, Dyntos, for a new weapon which they can use to defeat Hades. After Pit undergoes the god's tedious trials, Dyntos grants Pit the Great Sacred Treasure, which is basically just a mobile Gundam. Pit faces off against Hades once again, engaging him in a massive battle that spans from the underworld to the overworld. Along the way, Hades gradually breaks down the Great Sacred Treasure, forcing Pit to destroy him using the treasure's cannon alone. Upon Hades' defeat, Pit begins to celebrate his victory against the god, only for Viridi to reiterate her stance on humanity, and both he and Dark Pit fly off into the sunset together. And that was the story of Kid Icarus Uprising. If you guys enjoyed the video and you want to see more content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And yep, I'll see you guys in another video.